What's the status on Trump's 2025 tax cuts? All right, this is a big deal, man. This is a big deal. This is the 2026 and 2025 is the only years we can get this done. In 2026, usually in an election season, a lot doesn't get done. So this is the year, man. 2026, the Republicans will probably lose the House. They'll retain the Senate for sure, if not pick up a seat or two. But 2025 will lose the House most likely. And if we don't have the House, no tax legislation is going to come through because the Democrats control the Ways and Means Committee. And all the Ways and Means Committee is a checkbook for the U.S. government. Everything originates through that. And if you're not in control of the Ways and Means, you're not getting any tax cut legislation through. It's just not happening. So it's got to be done now. Unfortunately, the Republicans have a very tiny majority in the House because we just put our thumbs up our butts and watched like a thief in the night. The Democrats pick off California House districts once it was already reconciled that Trump won. And we just did nothing. California, I think we lost 5 seats in the House that we should not have lost because California shenanigans. But, hey, I mean, Republicans just suck. Democrats are evil, Republicans just suck. But be it as it may, we still go for the Republicans because we don't want to be evil. Anyway, so we got to get this done. The problem is to extend a tax cut legislation to permanent, make it permanent. I think you got to have 60 votes in the Senate, and we don't have that. Republicans only have 53. Murkowski's probably less one, and Susan Collins would probably go along with it. Who's the other guy? Mitch McConnell would probably go along with it, but Murkowski probably not. So we'd probably have a 52-48 majority. That's not enough to get him finalized for extension, other than a 10-year sunset. So you have a sunset provision that if you do a reconciliation process, you can expand them, but only for 10 years, and they sunset again after 10 years. So that's better than nothing, but we're not going to get a permanent tax cut because we don't have 60 votes in the Senate. Just that simple. Anyway, BLOGPOSTS, that's where we stand today. So the question is, with a tiny sliver majority in the Senate, in the House, a good majority in the Senate, where we could easily get these done, where we stand right now. So the Tax Foundation, right here. The House, remember, everything goes through the House. I cannot stress this enough. If you don't have the House, you're not getting legislation passed that you want. That's just a fact. The House adopted the Senate's amended version of the budget resolution, which allows $5.3 trillion in deficit finance tax cuts. Right? The combination of $3.8 trillion of tax cuts assumed to be costless under a current policy baseline, plus $1.5 trillion in additional deficits permitted. Deficit increases of $121 billion on defense and immigration spending, a minimum of $4 billion in spending cuts, an increase in debt limit up to $5 trillion. All right, can we all just agree that the modern monetary theorists are right here? No one's going to get a balanced budget. No one's ever going to pay off the federal debt. It's not happening. So just go along with it. At least advance causes that are good. I would actually reduce what I would do, frankly, if I were in charge. Say every single swinging freaking kahuna in Washington is taking a 5% cut. Everyone, the defense, Department of Education, all that. Everyone's taking a 5% cut in defense spending, and not just defense, everything. That's all there's to do. Or instead of doing that, you say no one's getting an increase until Trump's out of office. That's what you could do too. There will be if you did that for 5 years, magically you'll start getting close to balancing the budget. But none of this is ever going to happen because Republicans still are a war hawk party. I mean, the Democrats are too, don't get me wrong, but both these guys are. But when the Republicans are in charge, they like to increase military spending because that's where a lot of the military people go after a lot of the congressional staffers and congressmen go when they leave politics. They go for working for Boeing or something like that. You see what I'm saying? And as such, we want defense spending because it keeps Boeing making weapons. And look, I get it, but at some point, you just gotta say no. Everyone's taking a pay cut, 5% pay cut across the board for all government agencies. I'm just telling you that's the way to do it, but they'll never do that. There's no power in reducing spending. The power is increasing spending. That's just a fact. So, but anyway, going back to this. They're never going to balance the budget. They'll never pay down the debt. You just might as well get used to that. So if that's the case and we're going to go deficit spending, why not do deficit spending? Instead of doing deficit spending to finance all these foreign entities, Ukraine, Israel, who knows what else was going on, USAID, well, do deficit spending to finance tax cuts, increase Social Security, secure our borders, 100%. Get the freaking break. We got I just read someplace or listened that we have 800 military posts across the world or something like that. Do we need 800 military people across military bases? No, it's insane. We are the policemen of the world. Enough of that. Anyway, On April 2nd, the Senate introduced an updated budget resolution to provide new guidance to its Committee on Tax and Spending Policies. It adopts instructions in the House Resolution Committee while instructing the Senate Finance Committee to make tax policy changes that reduce revenue by up to 1 point. So again, we got right there. So the Senate and the House they're reconciled now to increase baseline spending or increase deficit spending to $5 trillion. So the debt limit of $5 trillion. Hey, whatever. Right here. House Ways and Means budget, the Senate Finance Plan, Trump. So we got three different things we got to negotiate with. That's the permanent. We don't say any details on this right here. That's the permanent. It's not going to happen. We're not going to get a permanent Trump tax cut. All right, right here. Yeah, it needs 60 votes to avoid a filibuster, and that's what it is, 60. You need 60 votes to avoid a filibuster to make it permanent, and the Democrats would filibuster. All right. So here's the Trumpster call for permanent extension of the 2017 tax cuts and additional tax cuts and no taxes on tips, overtime pay, or Social Security benefits. As well, and I like this, as well as a deduction for auto loan interest for American-made cars. Yeah, he also promised higher taxes on U.S. imports through a series of new tariffs. That's a pretty interesting. A deduction for auto loan interest on American-made cars. Yeah. Anyway, lawmakers will use a budget reconciliation process to enact new tax cuts. Reconciliation is a fast-tracked option that overcomes the Senate filibuster and can be used to enact tax, spending, and debt limit changes outlined for a budget resolution with specific targets with a specific time frame. All right, so I think there's some pretty good ideas in there. I don't like tax deductions. I just think get rid of the whole freaking thing because it's stupid. But at the end of the day, there should be incentive to purchase American. You know what I'm saying? There should be. You should be incentivized not to purchase imports, but to purchase American. And it shouldn't be. It'd be better if it's instead of a tax deduction, it's a tax credit. You know what I'm saying? Because tax credit actually is a dollar for dollar reduction of your tax pay. A deduction, well, very few people take deductions anyway. So it sounds good in theory, but not very many people do, especially middle class people. And the rich people aren't going to buy a freaking Ford. They're not. They're going to buy whatever the hell they buy. I don't know. I'm not rich. Look, my t-shirt's inside out. Oh, but why is your t-shirt always inside out? Because when I eat, we ate tacos last night, and then we ate, and we had the chips and salsa. I like chips and salsa, and when I eat it, it always gets in my shirt. So I got to do it inside, and I did dishes this morning. So anytime I do dishes or eat chips and salsa, I get it on my shirt. So I like to do it backwards. So that way, when I wear it properly, you won't see the stains of salsa on there. This isn't difficult, people. I mean, you should do the same thing. I guarantee many of you do, by the way, because I guarantee many men out there are like, oh man. And then they hear of your old buddy Josh says, I wear my shirt inside out. That way it won't stain. Exactly. Now you're getting it. All right. Anyway, so they're moving the ball slowly but surely. But hey, man, better to move the ball forward than backwards, because the Republicans are basically up on we're basically up on the night on our own two. The Democrats had the ball, and and the Democrats had the ball on our own two, and we weren't even in the stadium. We were just still trying to get her out of the bed to come to the stadium. That's what it looked like when the Democrats controlled everything in 2020. And it's like, oh man, 2021, like we are doomed. But the Republicans, the Democrats fumbled a little bit. We got a sack, and so we're back at the 5-yard line. Trump comes in. We're back basically at our 8. Now we have the ball. Let's say second down at our own 8, because it's still the beginning of Trump's term. But come next year, we're not going to get anything done, campaign election season. So we're at our own 8 with the ball. But before, the Democrats had the ball at our 2, but we weren't even in the stadium to defend it. There's a couple guys, Rand Paul and a couple other guys, but not many, man. A lot of those like, January 6th, we got to prosecute Trump. And yet we stood the course, and now we're here pushing back. But it's the hour or late, man. And the hour is late, and we just got to get stuff done while we can, because we might not ever get another chance. All right, God bless. Love your thoughts. Smash that like button. We'll see you.